I am 66 days sober. 66 days sober, 66 days sober. Um, and it's not a very long amount of time so far in the grand scheme of things, but I do think it's a pretty monumental point because I feel like it's kind of at that point where the novelty is worn off. It's not this like new, fresh, exciting thing where I'm suddenly like feeling amazing on top of the world, but it's still not a lifestyle fully yet. And I think it's hard to adjust into. I was actually just having a conversation with my dad about it, and he was like, "Well, Ruben, you weren't someone who was like desperate to get smashed all the time," which is true. The thing that I miss about it isn't the getting smashed all the time. Your life and your desires just change. Only 66 days in, I have been the party girl for so long, and it's been my main way of socializing. It's been my main way of like having free time, making friends, all that kind of stuff. And now I just don't want to do that. I don't want to go and party anymore. And I do to an extent, but not in the way that I used to. Like, that's not what I want to revolve my life around. And I think that a big part of me going sober was scared about feeling specifically like this because it's such a major change. Everyone has their own reasons for going sober, and this video isn't really about that. I can very much make a video about that if that's something that people desire. But there's a kind of solace and loneliness that comes with being sober, which is not really a suddenly feeling lonely. It's about realizing that a loneliness has always been there. At least that's what it was in my case. I think that it was numbing down so many of my favorite things and so many things I was interested in, and I was convincing myself that I needed it to be able to do those things. Needed it to socialize, needed it to go out and wear crazy things, needed it to be creative, to have fun and make things. And I'm very much realizing that you don't. And in fact, I'm sitting with so much more clarity, which is lovely, but it's also a lot of work having this much clarity. Suddenly, I'm like questioning all these things, and I'm going through a lot of things at the moment. I've just moved into this studio, which is really, really exciting, where I'm doing all my creative work, like making clothes and stuff like that. But that comes with a lot of daunting feelings. I'm making a lot of big moves, and I don't really know if they're the right thing. I'm just trying to sit within them, and being sober really, I can't be like, oh, I've moved in, let's get really drunk to celebrate. It's like, no, I've got to sit in this studio now and be like, is this the right decision that I've made? Currently, my studio mates are out, which is why I'm making this video here. I was thinking of making this video tonight, but I just thought I might as well make it now. It's kind of like when you go sober, like a new texture is added onto life. This kind of thing that you'd slightly forgotten about is added back on. And I was really in the beginning like, what's my vice gonna be? That was a really big thing I was feeling. I didn't really know what that was gonna exactly look like, and I didn't want to just become really addicted to social media or start eating loads of junk food, which both of those things have been a big part of my life since going sober. But interestingly, I've completely just reconnected with my biggest childhood passion. I feel this girl right here, she currently playing A Link Between Worlds. Fantastic game. I never completed that game when I was a kid. I had it, I never finished it. I finished like 4 games in the last few weeks on my DS, Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color. I think that a big part of it is giving me a lot of comfort and nostalgia of being a kid right now. I used to be a huge Nintendo gamer, and I kind of always have been. It's always kind of been part of my personal brand, at least in the way that I've seen myself. But maybe I'm just replacing one bad thing with another bad thing, but suddenly I have gotten so back into playing video games again. It's all I can think about. I'm constantly thinking about what the next game I want to get is. And I also think that I don't want to take any of my unhealthy habits from alcohol into my playing video games. I ordered 4 video games on the new DS the other night because I was feeling down and I wanted to feel better about myself. I don't want that to become my new way of coping with the normal human adult emotions that you have when you're undergoing a lot of life change. But I also think there's something to be said about this kind of ability to immerse yourself into another world and really just sit with that for a bit. I think that I am struggling a bit with video games is that I really want to make the most of that experience. I really want to be there and I really want to be present during it. But I kind of keep on feeling like onto the next. I think for the last few years, I've worked really, really hard to get myself to the point that I'm at now. Being able to work, doing what I want to do, freelance, full time, have a studio, have some kind of stability, which I mean, I don't really think that I have, to be honest with you, but I'm trying my best. But I think that I've struggled with just being in the moment. And now I'm here and I've kind of achieved a lot of things that I've really desired to achieve. It's funny that the outcome of that has been, I just want to sit back and play video games like I used to when I was a kid. But I also think that I don't think it's just about nostalgia. I don't think it's just about trying to relive memories. My relationship with these games is very different than it used to be when I was a kid. I really enjoyed them for the visuals and for the kind of dopamine hits when I was younger, but I really like them for the storytelling now. I think the thing that I'm missing is community, and I think that that's what part of this transition is really, really difficult, is that going out and partying gave me so much community and surrounded me by so many people. And now kind of sitting in solitude and playing video games, it doesn't give me that as much. And I guess I need to re-find that in some kind of way. Find how I can connect to people and relate to people about it. But yeah, I mean, this is the first step of many. I mean, I guess it's the 66th step of many. But being sober and undergoing a lot of change is really, really difficult. And I'm feeling that really hard right now. And a big part of me feels more lost than I ever have been, even though on paper, I've kind of been able to achieve so many things I've desired to achieve for so long. And it's funny that the outcome of that has been cracking up my 3DS. But I love this thing. And I currently have 4 DSs. I have a Game Boy Advance, I have a Game Boy Color, I've got another DS coming in the post. I want to get an analog pocket. That's the next step so I can play other games properly. And yeah, I don't really know where this video is going, but this is how I feel at the moment. And I feel very, very grateful to have replaced alcohol with something that gives me kind of genuine joy and fulfillment, but it's also a crazy big readjustment for this to be my thing and not for alcohol to be my thing.